Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the technical webinar on Water Energy Food Ecosystem Nexus in Practice. We will be discussing technical solutions in the Mediterranean, our experience and the opportunities to upscale these. Thank you very much for joining, for participating in this webinar. You will have the opportunity to engage with our panelists. We have a distinguished set of panelists, and it will be our pleasure to receive your comments and your questions. Let me first welcome Mr. Almotaz Abadi, the Managing Director for Water for the Union for the Mediterranean, for the official welcoming to this webinar.
Thank you very much, Konstantina Toli, for inviting us and for partnering actually with the Union for the Mediterranean in order to be with our distinguished panelists, as well as to give some briefing about our joint work to implement the regional development agenda for the Union for the Mediterranean, as well as how to contribute to the achievement of Sustainable Development Goal with a special focus on the issues related to the SDG 6. Today we are very happy to be with you from Barcelona, from the Union for the Mediterranean. And from my side, I just wanted to give 2-3 elements of the importance of the water energy food ecosystem nexus in the perspective of the political and policy process that the Union for the Mediterranean is leading to achieve better socio-economic reality in the Mediterranean region and in the member state. As you know, the Union for the Mediterranean is an intergovernmental organization working on the Sustainable Development Agenda in the spirit of cooperation and to enhance the exchange between North, South, and South cooperation. 2017 witnessed the revitalization of the political process on the water issue, where the 43 member states of the Union for the Mediterranean mandated the experts around the Mediterranean, including government, non-government actors, civil society, women association, and youth organization in order to develop what we call it the UFM Water Agenda. The UFM Water Agenda second chapter was water, energy, food, ecosystem nexus, and in order to link those four sectors together in order to achieve sustainability, because the ministers of water in the Union for the Mediterranean countries, they believe that without putting a very sound intergovernmental approach, as well as whole governmental approach and building synergy at governance and regulatory level between water, energy, and energy, food, water, and while doing so, preserving the ecosystem. Otherwise, we will not be sustainable at all. We cannot be sustainable without building the bridges between the four pillars of the sustainable development: water, energy, food, ecosystem nexus. At this stage, when it comes to the COVID crisis, there is an urgency to look after how this sector also will contribute to the socio-economic development and how to contribute to the job creation. With this, I will leave the floor for our distinguished panelists from different organizations who are really working with us from the south of the Mediterranean, north of the Mediterranean, in order to achieve a collective approach toward achieving the Sustainable Development Goal at the global level also. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Abadi. It is our pleasure to have you with us. And of course, the Union for the Mediterranean and the Water Agenda is a critical process in the Mediterranean. And as you mentioned, Nexus is one of the themes of the Water Agenda. I would like to start, or before I start my presentation for the day, to introduce the Nexus technical solutions. I would like to just take a couple of moments and ask you to connect through your mobile phones on Mentimeter. Mentimeter is a polling instrument, so you have to connect to menti.com and use the code 265147 just to establish some, let's call it icebreaker questions or to establish a common understanding of what Nexus is, how much do we know about Nexus, how much do we understand, just before we get into the essence of it. And I will start with the first question. We're talking Nexus, but when was Nexus first articulated? We should go back to the first question, please. Thank you. You can now vote. Is it the World Economic Forum, the Bonn Conference, or the World Water Forum? How old is Nexus? What do you think? I think you are torn between the World Economic Forum and the World Water Forum, but there's a 4-year gap there. So we'll just accept two more replies if you are already online. And we have a tie. No, we have a winner, which is the World Water Forum in 2012. Well, actually, the Nexus was first articulated in the World Economic Forum in 2008. There was a call for action that called for an integrated approach so that water would not be seen as a standalone or in a silo, that it should be considered along with other sectors of energy and food. Next question, please. So what is the water stress level in MENA region? I think for all of you coming from MENA region, you understand that this is a critical factor, water stress in our region. But what is actually the water stress level? It seems that this is more or less of a straightforward question. And Indeed, water stress in MENA region is 70%. It is the most water stressed region in the world. And Jordan is the most water stressed country from our region. Next question, please. Since it is a water-stressed region and it is rather heavily dependent on desalination, it is not the only one actually. So I would like to ask you to rank the desalination capacity of these regions. You vote what comes first, second, third, and fourth. Well, you more or less got it right. First of all is Middle East and North Africa, and you understand that desalination is very important in our region, both in terms of technology, but also in terms of impact and opportunities, also through a Nexus approach. But the second one is North America. It's not South Asia, I have to tell you. Next question, please. So what is the share of energy spent in the water sector? What share of energy spent in the water sector is used for water supply? We're just trying to show what is the dependency between energy and water. Well, more participants interacting with us, and indeed 42% of the energy in the water sector is used for water supply. That means that water distribution systems are quite energy intensive, and this also shows the linkage between water and energy. Last question for now, in the next slide. What is the average water use for agriculture in MENA region? Indeed, we see a competition or a tie between 70% and 80%. We have used the average of 70% as the correct answer, but indeed in some countries, agriculture uses up more than, or almost, or even more than 80%. Well, thank you for this interaction, and now let's move on to the presentation. Unfortunately, I don't have the opportunity of a live interaction with you, but you do have the opportunity to send us your comments and questions on the chat room, and these will reach both me and all panelists. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Thank you. As we said, the Nexus was first articulated in the World Economic Forum in 2008, when the risks of water security, energy security, and food security were highlighted, and also their interlinkages. We, in terms of water, we are suffering from shortages. We have a population growth in some of our countries, especially in the south, and of course, it is also social unrest is also an issue that may affect or can affect water resources. When it comes to energy, you understand that we have increasing demand for energy supply. We need more energy in order to cover our needs. And again, there is also a security issue of whether we have enough energy or whether this can be secured within the country or it has to be transported. So there is also a geopolitical aspect into that. And of course, when it comes to food security, we understand that there is a food crisis also associated with water scarcity, climate change impacts, and of course, social unrest. And added to that, we have environmental pressures, we have climate change impacts, and of course, population and economic growth challenges. Next slide, please. So this is when the Nexus, the Water, Energy, Food Nexus, eventually it was in 2011 in the Bonn conference, when it was articulated, but then some versions added a fourth element. We use the Water, Food, Energy Ecosystem Nexus, which offers an integrated approach, analyzing the synergies and trade-offs between the different sectors in order to maximize the efficiency of resources, while adapting also to best policies and institutional arrangements. Next, please. So why use this approach? It is an approach that eventually regards these cross-cutting interlinkages and can eventually provide water, energy, and food security. But beyond this, we have many more benefits, including, of course, resource efficiency. We have economic benefits due to best use of resources, but also due to savings. We have social benefits as we have better access and more equal access to resources, and can eventually be an opportunity for people to create opportunities, employment opportunities, or income generation opportunities. Of course, cross-regional collaboration is important and is pivotal in this approach of considering all these 4 sectors. And of course, by adding E in the WEFE Nexus, making it a WEFE, it is about ecosystem preservation. For us, the water people, the water world, this is thinking what we call thinking beyond the water box. We are considering and we are integrating approaches. And in this case, as we already had integrated water resource management approaches and other integrated approaches, now we are integrating the integrated. It's our inside joke in our world. And of course, through these integrated approaches, we can have better access and we can better leverage and mobilize new financing. And we synergize among win-win situations. So if you improve water efficiency and energy efficiency, for example, you may have better crops or more crops, and this would eventually have multiple benefits. Next, please. In GWP-Med, I will only bring 2 examples. GWP-Med has been working through political processes in the Nexus agenda. So through the Union for the Mediterranean, the Barcelona Convention, and the Regional Cooperation Council. Just 2 examples that are pure Nexus programs is the new Med Nexus project that is part of the new Med program, that will focus on 2 areas at regional level in the Mediterranean, with Nexus dialogues, capacity building, stakeholder engagement, and gender mainstreaming, and similar activities at local level in 3 countries, Albania, Lebanon, Morocco. And actually this is being kicked off, this program is being kicked off actually today. Next, please. One more program that is solely a Nexus program is promoting sustainable management of natural resources in Southeastern Europe through the use of a Nexus approach. This aims at catalyzing action for adoption and implementation of a Nexus approach in Southeastern Europe, implemented by GWP-Med in cooperation with UNECE. And includes a number of activities, including mapping of the level of integration, technical assessments, identification of pilot projects, capacity building, etc. Next, please. And I will take you to some more details in order to enter into the solutions portfolio. In the water and energy food ecosystem, there are interlinkages between these 4 sectors. You understand that we are using, in order to produce food, we need to irrigate it. In order to irrigate it, we need water, but we also need energy for pumping and distribution as well. In order to produce energy, we need cooling, and this means that we need water. And in order to provide or to produce water through desalination, again, we need energy. There are so many close interlinkages between these sectors and so many opportunities actually in order to create these interlinkages and to provide these solutions at urban level, at rural level, to improve ecosystem services, to apply nature-based solutions, including some of the Nexus elements on water and energy especially. But this is not only about the solutions themselves, it's also about what they can provide. So we need innovation, we need technology, and we can transfer technology if it is already available, but we can also be innovative and we can provide new solutions. And this actually can create new markets, it can create opportunities for income generation, for entrepreneurship, and also for investments. Next, please. And getting into the Nexus technical solutions, these are some, you can see some diagrams of some of the solutions that we have used. These are solutions that GWP-Med has already implemented in the frame of 2 more projects, the non-conventional water resources program in the Mediterranean and water for the city. And I will be getting into details in the next slide. Those are areas where we can eventually, where we have already implemented solutions, but those are ideas, opportunities of solutions that can eventually be replicated and can be upscaled in the Mediterranean. So when it comes to non-conventional water resources, technologies. We can, of course, we can harvest rainwater and we can reuse it for a number of secondary uses at urban level, at rural level for irrigation, to irrigate crops. And we can do this using renewable sources. The second picture from the left is a greywater recycling system. And this is used in facilities that can actually generate high volumes of grey water. This one is installed in a national swimming pool in Malta, and it recycles grey water from the showers in the swimming pool and for toilet flushing. The third picture from the left is an ICT application. I will be giving more details on this one. This is an ICT application for irrigation, for citrus fruit farming. And the last one is a small desalination unit, which can be a good solution powered by renewable sources. It can be a good solution for small settlements or neighborhoods where they can have direct access to potable water, again powered by renewable sources. Next, please. While we're talking innovation, we should also look into the opportunities for reviving traditional structures and using new means. The projects that you can see in your slide, they're mainly about rainwater harvesting, but if you power rainwater harvesting with renewable sources and you use these for distribution, for pumping, for irrigation, etc., you have a nexus approach to solutions that can be fit for agriculture or even for urban purposes. Next, please. Optimizing existing infrastructure and achieving water efficiency. This is another area where nexus solutions can be applied. In this case, we can either use existing structures and we can bring them back to life and give them a second life. I understand that rainwater harvesting it is an ancient old practice and has been applied in our region for hundreds or thousands of years. So if we eventually take this opportunity to revitalize these structures and then we can couple them with all these modern means of solar pumping or other means of irrigation, drip irrigation, then we can provide sustainable solutions through a nexus approach. Next, please. And just not to forget the E in the WEFE Nexus. When it comes to ecosystem and ecosystem services, there are a lot of integrated solutions coupling rainwater harvesting and powered by renewable sources that can provide more green, or they can provide flood management at urban environment. They can increase urban green. And we can apply these solutions at various levels, mainly at urban and peri-urban environment. You can see green walls there, green roofs that we have applied, etc. Next, please. And this is the solution that I'm going to get into more details with. This is a solution, an ICT solution that we have implemented in Italy, in Sicily mainly, and in Sardinia. Our objective was to design an IoT-based technology for optimal water resource efficiency in order to maximize also the productivity in citrus farming at small and medium scale. This was applied in the Catania Plain, Villa Cidro Plain in Catania Plain in Sicily and Villa Cidro Plain in Sardinia. We had an irrigated area of 18, says here it was more than 20,000 hectares. And this is managed. They had water being either abstracted from the aquifer or they had open ponds, water ponds, where they would collect rainwater, and private wells. And this is managed through irrigation consortia or water use associations. Both areas are drought-prone areas. It was really important to improve irrigation through this application. Next, please. So we focused on 20 farms, 20 citrus farms. Both Sicily and Sardinia are quite famous for their citrus products, so it was really important to explore these solutions that would eventually have the potential to be scaled up, to be replicated and scaled up. We designed an IoT platform. You can see it in the picture in the middle. It is the Citrus IoT architecture, where through the sensors it would receive all the data, and it would eventually give back the information in the form of a personalized profile for each farm. It is the photo that you see at the bottom right. In this way, we are expecting, this was actually concluded late in 2019, and we are waiting for the final results, but according to modeling, we are expecting a water efficiency and water saving that would exceed 20% compared to the already efficient practices that they were applying of drop irrigation. Next, please. This is grey water recycling. It's one of the many applications that we have applied in these programs. We have more than 130 pilot projects, so grey water recycling is among the ones that I would like to feature. Again, powered by solar power, it recycles grey water from a college, which is being used in order to create a green roof that is used both for experimental reasons, but also to increase green for students. And this is grey water recycling is another great opportunity in facilities which generate high volumes of grey water, like hotels, sports facilities, etc., and can be retrofitted when they are renovating the places, the facilities. And next, please. And at a very different scale, we have a dam reservoir optimization. This is not, we've gone from small to medium to big scale now. This is an optimization project that we run in northwestern Greece, where we optimize the dam capacity by adding these gates that you can see here in the photo, which increased eventually the capacity of the dam by 14% and can eventually be a solution that, depending on the dam capacity, it can even increase it by even up to 50%. This project was coupled with smart monitoring application, the local supply network, and it is a Nexus solution that can be appropriate also for hydropower dams. And of course, it is a solution for climate resilience, as this prevents flooding. It is really important in a dam when you have all these huge, the precipitation that is beyond normal, to prevent flooding and to prevent the people and properties downstream. This was the last slide, and I would like to leave you with a very short video that presents this solution. Thank you very much, and I will be at your disposal for any questions further. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. We will provide all links to all the material that will be featured in this webinar, so you can have a further look at these. And I would like now to welcome Dr. Annukka Lipponen from UNECE. Annukka, good afternoon. Thank you for being with us today. Anuka is Environmental Affairs Officer in UNECE, and I will leave the floor to her.
Thank you very much. It's really a big pleasure to share experience to this audience, notably as Union for the Mediterranean and the Global Water Partnership are important partners for us in the Nexus work, which is focused at the transboundary level. Can I have the first substantive slide, please? You can move to the next slide, please. You should see Nexus work under the Water Convention. So the Nexus work under the Water Convention, which is a global legal and institutional framework for transboundary water cooperation, it has a strong capacity building focus, and it's very much about promoting and sharing experience about how in practice addressing transboundary resource management trade-offs, but also to make use of synergy opportunities. And the main framework or platform for this is the Water, Food, Energy Ecosystems Nexus Task Force, which since 2013 has met 5 times, and the 6th meeting is ahead. In this framework, the state parties saw the need for development of an assessment methodology, which is a participatory one. It involves at the transboundary level, informed by analysis, and so far this has been applied in 6 basins. So actually, one is a transboundary aquifer. In the Mediterranean region, we worked in the Balkans, notably with the Global Water Partnership, and also on the southern side, on the Northwest Sahara aquifer system, which I will be discussing more about in detail. In essence, these are intergovernmental exercises carried out in close cooperation with the national authorities. The ministry is responsible for transboundary water cooperation, but also other sectoral authorities such as energy ministries and ministries responsible for agriculture. Commonly, these are organized in cooperation with regional partners. And the current and future focus is we've strengthened the cooperation with the energy sector, notably in the renewable energy development. There are a lot of opportunities for Nexus action that benefits multiple sectors at the same time. And then also we're undertaking, starting this year, a global stock taking of Nexus solutions with the transboundary focus on Nexus solutions and investments, in fact. Can I have the next slide, please? Actually, in cooperation with our good friend Almutaz Abadi, last year in October, the Water Convention co-organized with the Union for the Mediterranean joint event in Geneva titled Promoting an Integrated and Intersectoral Approach to Water Management in the Mediterranean Region, where it was recognized that there are clearly common priorities of actions between the Water Convention's Nexus approach and UFM's water agenda, the way the Nexus is looked at. And also the sustainable water resource management and recognition of the importance of regional or transboundary cooperation is very much present there. The Nexus understanding of the Nexus issues and opportunities is very much evolving, and of course it's always context specific also, and we should develop partnerships that respond to the member states' needs. And of course, as Konstantina was rightly saying, this is very much about looking beyond water, finding the common interests, also encouraging action by economic sectors that integrates environment protection and consideration of water-related risks and scarcity and so on early on. These projects that so far have been taken, implemented in the Balkans notably, and including this, in addition of the southern Mediterranean, this Northwest Sahara aquifer Nexus assessment, they point at tangible opportunities for cross-sectoral action, coordinated between countries, and from the UFM, it's already clear that there are funding opportunities for this kind of cross-sector action, and hopefully this will help moving the concrete action forward. Next slide, please. So the Northwest Aquifer system is one of the most important groundwater reserves of North Africa. It's shared between three aquifer sharing countries: Algeria, Libya, and Tunisia. It covers more than 1 million square kilometers. The system consists of two main aquifers, but also the superficial aquifers are also of increasingly under threat and heavily tapped into, affected by quality issues. Also, a significant population depends on this water resource, which is to a large part non-renewable. Next slide, please. So, in response to the demand from the countries, from the water authorities, in the framework of the consultation mechanism of the Northwest Sahara Aquifer System, which is the cooperation framework for the three countries, we undertook together with the Global Water Partnership and the Sahara and Sahel Observatory, with Sweden's SIDA's support, this participatory assessment of the nexus issues and opportunities in the aquifer. This participatory process, according to the methodology of the Water Convention, it involved 2 transboundary level workshops and national consultation workshops, starting from identification of the priority nexus issues and then moving on to elaborating jointly solutions, discussing in these national consultations priorities, what kind of experiences there are of implementation, also past experience in the countries, and taking all that into account, conclusions were drawn and recommendations made. And this next assessment report is to be published like literally within 10 days or so. So watch out for that. What was the main outcome is one integrated package of synergetic solutions for the SAS region, which is implementable and of high priority because of this consultative nature developed in cooperation with authorities. Can I have the next slide, please? So in the SAS, there are important opportunities. Notably, there's important solar potential to meet various energy demands, but also there are various constraints related to the depletion of the groundwater resource. Groundwater decreasing, level decreasing, and also the increased mineralization and also pollution. But we tried to also, like, we got some quantitative analysis done and some of this kind of cartography to look at where the nexus features are and where do these demands, for example, for certain crops, which of course imply different water demands, different irrigation requirements, and different level of mineralization. What does it imply then for energy requirements? Next slide, please. So actually, in this framework, 3 cross-sectoral goals were sketched. Firstly, coherent planning for sustainable development of the Northwest Sahara Aquifer system, enhanced local resilience, secondly, to business challenges, and thirdly, the one that is presented here on the slide, circular economy through non-conventional water and renewable energy. And here the key solutions to achievement of this goal are upscaling the non-conventional water resources through desalination and wastewater treatment. This is an underused resource. The irrigation drainage waters, of course, it's important to take into account the quality, which has implications for the use, but then also this highly mineralized brackish waters could be beneficially used to a greater degree. And then this solution 7, development of a sustainable program for diversified multi-purpose renewable energy and sustainably upscaling small-scale solar irrigation. Next slide will show in detail what kind of actions this solution 5 related to non-conventional water resources, what it consists of. I will not go into the details of this, but it's clear that with water becoming increasingly scarce and increasingly deep and increasingly polluted and increasingly mineralized, there are important energy demands. And on these actions, it would really benefit action if different sectors would participate in taking these measures, but somebody has to lead, and still often it's the water management authorities that need to establish these partnerships. But of course, that requires being clear about the mutual interest. Next slide, please. So with these predicted increasing energy requirements, also for households, increased climatization needs and other development quality of life, it's not insignificant where this energy comes from. These countries traditionally rely heavily on fossil fuels, but renewable energy sources, geothermal energy, biomass, waste even, but notably solar above all, presents a lot of opportunities, but also challenges, because access into significant amounts of energy also may lead into even heavier tapping into this limited groundwater resource. But the energy sector's involvement here is really key to achieve sustainable development. Can I have the slide? Next slide, please, the last one. So just to conclude quickly, so such nexus assessments under the Water Convention, they allow initiating, broadening or revisiting transboundary water or basin cooperation by pointing at these, let's say, broader benefits beyond just allocating water or using water. And this intersectoral dialogue, it facilitates jointly identifying and prioritizing issues and opportunities. And it's crucial not only for this kind of exercise to be undertaken, but also for policy uptake and follow-up, that there is an appropriate institutional framework, and having these at the transboundary level is a tremendous advantage. With this Northwest Sahara Aquifer Nexus assessment with the Global Water Partnership and the OSS, and with the SIDA support, this package of solutions for coordinated achievement of sustainable development would now need partnerships and support to the aquifer states. So hopefully partners will step forward in supporting the countries with investments. And I want to underline that these technical actions like infrastructure projects, they need to be accompanied by adequate governance and policy action. And for the Mediterranean countries in particular, so the Convention's Nexus Task Force is a global platform for knowledge and experience exchange on transboundary nexus issues and possible solutions. The UFM also has a Nexus Task Force, but more focused on the region and on national, and this exchange between them would be very, very fruitful. This Nexus assessment methodology developed under the Convention as a collective effort of various states and partners. It's available for application, and the other tools also, like toolkit for renewable energy deployment. And for this global stocktaking of Nexus solutions, we would very much welcome examples of transboundary relevance from the Mediterranean region, and we call upon partners to help states in putting into practice this kind of coordinated Nexus actions, also with benefits at the transboundary level. Thank you very much.
Dear Dr. Liponen, thank you so much for your comprehensive presentation. I understand it was brief, but this is the beauty of webinars. We have to keep it short and focused, but we will have the opportunity to discuss during the panel discussion and elaborate further both on the methodology, but also on the opportunities and the enabling environment that we need. We start always with a question, how to do it. So the Nexus assessment methodology is definitely a starting point. Thank you very much. You will stay with us for the panel discussion. I would like to thank you for now and welcome now our next speakers. We are going into the WEFE Nexus experiences from the region. Our first panelist for the day is Mr. Omar Abouaid. He's a program manager in the energy, environment and climate change program manager at the EU delegation to Jordan. Mr. Abouaid, thank you so much for being here today with us, and I will leave the floor to you. Well, it seems that we have a technical challenge with the sound from with Mr. Abouaid from Jordan. I'll take this opportunity to introduce the rest of our speakers that will bring in the WEFE Nexus experience from the region. Our next speaker will be Mr. Ali Hayashneh. He's from IUCN ROA, also from Jordan, and he's a program manager for water and climate change. And last but not least, Dr. Amgad Elmadi, who is the director for MENA region for IWMI. It is our great pleasure to welcome these panelists with us. They will elaborate further on their actual experience, the projects that they have already implemented, the opportunities that are coming up. Omar, you're live. Well, it seems that while we had a sound check right before we started, apparently now we're facing a new challenge with the sound. This is the beauty of digital events, actually, and it's a new setting for all of us, so apologies for any hiccups that we may have. Some of you, I see on the chat that there is, some of you find that the slides are small. If you find that the presentations are small, please enter into a full screen. It might be an issue with your resolution, but if you enter into a full screen, then they will be much clearer because the resolution is already very high. And as you understand, it's our new modality. This is the first webinar that GWP-Med is holding. But since we're entering this era of digital events, I don't know when the next time of physical events or physical workshops will be. We need to survive this challenge. Omar, are you with us?
I hope so. You hear me now?
Yes, yes, indeed. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you and welcome.
Again. No, sorry for this, but technology, as you were just saying, Constantina.
Technology.
Well, dear Constantina, dear Al-Mu'taz, colleagues from Sweden, from the UN agencies, Jeff, MAP, my fellow panelists, thank you very much for providing us with this opportunity, really, to take part of this important webinar, which I believe comes at a right moment. And I will be brief so that we catch up on some of the delays I caused by the technical connection problem. Please, the show, thank you. Let's move with it. I start with a logo on our renewable energy and energy efficiency program, because actually our entry point at the moment through working on the Nexus, especially water and energy, is through our green energy programs. Next slide, please. No doubt we have a vision in Europe within a few years' time, and that is less than 30, if we continue with our pattern of consumption and production, we will need another planet really to provide our natural resources that Konstantina referred to rightly a few minutes ago. So we basically have one planet. Next slide, please. What we have been really focused on through the Nexus, and I know that Konstantina and our colleague Dr. Anuka also referred to it, it's like more understanding of interdependencies between different sectors, that is water, energy, food, to ensure their security of supply, but for an ever-growing population. And this is why I started with the slide of we only have one planet, because we need really to think of the needs of our population worldwide. So this requires lots of work by individuals, businesses, and government, and really to have integrated planning, policy dialogue, management, and have more awareness among the population at large. Next slide, please. So why to go with Nexus? I believe this was touched upon by my colleagues, but still, it's all about addressing sustainability challenges as well as opportunities, mostly in resources management, sustainable development, renewable energy and energy efficiency, so green energy at large, but equally important, water availability and food security, and the interdependencies among the three particular sectors. Next slide, please. As you see here, I choose some of the photos. There's another one for some of our projects that I will come in a minute, but as you see, it's more about solar water heating, new innovative projects where we focus on use of solar energy for seawater desalination and later food production. Next slide, please. So why are we doing that, and what is the current setup that the EU is doing? One more, please. As you see here, yes. So what are we doing? Our EEE is renewable energy and energy efficiency. And we have different applications that we have been doing over the past 7 years in particular, and even a little bit more. But particularly, we have managed to tackle water energy nexus in particular through applications of solar thermal applicants. We have installed 20,000 solar water heaters and an extra 160 in refugee areas. But we equally worked on solar electricity for 5 main water pumping stations that are currently under implementation. We also did work on solar water pumps for farmers in response to climate action, but at the same time responding to the needs of the farmers, combining the need of water supply with green energy. And we also touched on, in a very innovative approach, on geothermal potential here in Jordan with the Higher Council for Science and Technology, in which we managed to tackle heating and cooling systems. And our famous project, which is the Sahara Forest model, that is with our colleagues from Norway, where we basically managed to reflect applied research with real implementation of desalination of seawater by solar energy and later using it for food production. And this can easily be upscaled, whether in Jordan or in different parts around the Mediterranean. And therefore, our colleagues really at the Global Water Partnership are so appreciated to think of this model. Another element that we also touched on the previous 2 years in particular, again, more innovative, was pumping storage. So integration of renewable energy needs, that is more storage, with the water sector through water dams. Some may think, Jordan, the second poorest country worldwide in water, how come? You don't need a big amount of water to do pumping storage. I take the example that Konstantina reflected on enhancing more water supply in a city. You can do a similar approach for pumping storage in a very closed system. Same water continues to move up and down within a closed system, and whenever the electricity is needed, it can be released from that generation facility. Next slide, please. One more. So again, what are we doing in principle? Other than the projects I presented and the real implementation we have been doing, we also have delegation agreements with different partners. With the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, I mentioned earlier, we are touching on 5 water pumping stations, providing them with solar energy with an amount of 30 million euros. and the water sector consumes more than 40% of its annual budget for electricity, just like the questionnaire we did at the start of our webinar. We are working with the Food and Agriculture Organization in a refugee camp to convert waste to energy, and that is sludge coming out from the wastewater treatment facility to become biogas and later electricity further integrated in the wastewater treatment facility. We are working further with the colleagues at GIZ on solid waste management, but equally important, further sludge management in the same refugee camp, where we will have more accelerated the use for waste to energy approaches. And in total, that is more than 70 million euros of support, which we are really happy to continue and build upon. Next slide, please. What are the EU opportunities at this particular stage? We are now considered as a global climate leader, but for Jordan, we are definitely a main partner, and we are happy to be more close partners in development, especially in green development. Lately, everyone heard late December, the EU reflected their new Green Deal as a main objective to reduce CO2 emissions, but equally important, enhance climate action towards 2030 and 2050, where we want to be having Europe as the first climate neutral continent worldwide. We are really touching on circular economy and sustainable consumption and production, and I'm happy that Dr. Anuka referred to that. We are also touching on sustainable mobility. Lately, a lot of transportation development is needed, especially to have it more sustainable. No doubt the Nexus model, and today we are touching about it, and the covenant of mayors, where municipalities, mayors are really working their hard to reduce CO2 emissions and work on climate action. Simply, we touch on green growth and green economy. Next slide, please. So speaking of that, and I had the exchange with Constantina, what is the EU Green Deal? And everyone is really asking, what is Europe doing and where are they heading? As I just said, it's an ambition to be the first climate neutral continent by 2050, but we will focus on the following. First, we want to transform the EU into a fair and prosperous society, which is currently being followed up. We want to have a modern, resource efficient and competitive economy, no net emissions of greenhouse gases towards 2050. We want to tackle our nature, so protect and conserve the natural capital of the European Union. Equally important, protect the health and well-being of citizens from environment-related risks, and we are living today a real example with the COVID-19 example. And finally, enhancing research and innovation, and again, pumping storage, new initiatives, e-mobility, equally important with digitalization, are all ways to tackle for the future. Next slide, please. This is all for Europe. So some may say, so what will happen with the partners? Our policy is leaving no one behind. We will not achieve the objectives only within Europe. We want really to work with the partners, and therefore our motto is really leaving no one behind. Next slide, please. Now, to do so, we will tackle many elements, and the EU decided, together with the EU Parliament, the EU Council, to have more economic development related to climate action. Therefore, the Nexus model is really integrated there. We want to increase the EU climate ambition for 2030 and 2050, and over the past 6 months, many objectives and targets have been presented by different European institutions. We want to supply clean and affordable as well as secure energy, and that is green energy as a way forward. We want to focus on mobilizing industry for a clean and circular economy, sustainable consumption and production on top. We want to build and renovate current buildings as well as new buildings that are more energy efficient and resource efficient approaches. A zero pollution ambition for a toxic-free environment, therefore the well-being of the Europeans as well as the partners. Preserve and restore ecosystems and biodiversity. From an agriculture point of view and food, we have the norm of farm to fork approach, which is a fair and healthy as well as environment-friendly food system. And finally, accelerate the shift to sustainable and smart mobility. One more, please. So with that, I conclude. But as you see, we are really tackling more green growth and green economy. I'm happy to receive any questions really from the audience, from my fellow panelists. And thank you again for allowing me really to reflect what the EU is doing, but equally important, what we are doing more in Jordan in particular. Thank you.
Omar, thank you very much for your very concise but really rich presentation. I'm pretty sure that we will have a lot of questions. I already have many questions about how to bring these from Europe to the partner countries. For now, I have to say goodbye for a few minutes to welcome our next panelist, engineer Ali Hayashneh from IUCN ROA. Ali, welcome. Thank you for being with us today. Ali is the Program Manager for Water and Climate Change, and he will bring in the experience of IUCN.
Thank you very much, Constantina. I would like first to thank GWP-Med and UFM for organizing this important event, actually. And I'm really honored and have the pleasure to be with you to share with you some insights and brief about one of the Nexus initiative that we are implementing here in MENA region. Next slide, please. Next, please. This initiative, actually, it's the MENA region initiative as a model for a Nexus approach and renewable energy technology, which is called MENA-RET. Actually, this project was launched early 2017 with support of the Swedish International Development Agency. The project is a 4-year project with a total budget of 48 million Swedish krona, and we are now currently in the 4th year of the project. Next, please. The implementing partners for this project, actually, we are three implementing partners. We have the Royal Scientific Society, RSS. RSS is the largest applied research institution, and they are specialized and have a wide experience in renewable energy and energy efficiency techniques. And IUCN, as you know, IUCN is the world at all the stars global environmental organization. And we have also the third partner with us is Horizon for Green Development. It's a local NGO here in Jordan, working with empowering the communities through sustainable development and their mission to contribute and alleviating water shortage and increase renewable energy and energy efficiency. Next, please. Actually, the main objective of this project or this initiative is aiming to adopt a comprehensive and holistic approach, which is called Nexus approach, to get benefiting from this project, to benefiting to eliminate the climate change impact on the environment and in the society, and on the other hand, strengthening the regional cooperation with MENA region through implementing this Nexus approach. So the result of this, the main results that coming from this project, that how we can get benefit and maximize the benefits from this comprehensive approach to achieve sustainable development, to reduce the climate change impact in the society and also in the ecosystem. Next, please. This initiative, actually, in this initiative, we are targeting three countries. We have Tunisia and Lebanon and Jordan. And we are targeting within each country, targeting one municipality. In Tunisia, we have Monastir municipalities. In Lebanon, we have Jadaydet, Shuf municipalities. And in Jordan, we have El Karak municipality. So the uniqueness of this initiative, actually, that we are adapting and applying the Nexus approach at municipal level. And you know, what is the challenge in this project that, all of you know that in MENA region, or in particular in Arab regions, in Arab countries, that the municipalities does not have the mandate to govern and to manage the natural resources like water and energy. So this was one of the main challenge for us, and this was the uniqueness of the project, that how to make this change, to change the role of municipalities from only service provider to sustainable actors. Next, please. So the modality or the methodology for when we applying this project, we adopt the bottom-up approach, start with catalyzing the role of the municipalities. When we are talking about the municipality, we do not, I don't mean that on mean the municipality itself, but we are considering the all local communities within the municipality geographical boundaries, the youth organization, women organization, so leaving no one behind, and within the boundary of the municipalities, and how to strengthen and enhance the role of the municipality to have a real role and to understand how to apply the Nexus approach within their geographical boundaries, and then have the tools to the advocacy tools and policy brief like position paper and white paper, position paper, that to encourage the government at the government level to mainstream the policy, the Nexus approach within their national policy. Next, please. So, why Minaret is critical and timely in this condition? Actually, as you know, the Nexus is the central is a central to the sustainability. Nexus can add Nexus as process oriented, so you can through Nexus pinpoints us to where and how we can do more with this. It shows us and the underutilized opportunities. So addressing the interlinkages points between the three sectors can get us more benefits and can make the balance and having the win-win situation and finding the synergies and the trade-off between the three sectors. Next, please. What is the main goals that we can? What is the main goals we can get from the Nexus approach? Actually, we can improve the livelihood and maximize the resource, maximizing the benefit from using the resources. So supply people with energy, water, and food while maximizing the resources used. About the sustainable development, we can achieve that by improving the livelihood within the municipalities and within the municipalities' boundaries, and maximizing the natural resources and using it in an efficient manner. Next, please. Minority project, actually, we are trying with this project to achieve the SDGs goals and also to meet the strategic goals and vision for SIDA. So supply people with energy and water and food while maximizing resource efficiency and water, energy, water and food security to improve the livelihood. Next, please. So here, if you can see that Minaret is in the middle. From one hand, we are trying to achieve all the missions and all the goals and missions for SIDA by improving the climate change resilience, enhancing providing economic opportunity, increasing the collaboration and the partnership, enhancing the resilience of the cities. On the other hand, we are trying to contribute to not only the goal 6 and goal 7, but also goal 1 for no poverty and the goal clean energy and the climate change, and also the partnership goal. So within Minaret, we now we are in the 4th year, and out of the output of the projects in the field, we try as much as we can based on the objective and the work plan of the project to contribute to achieve these goals at municipality levels, and this will be reflected for the national level. Next, please. Also, the decentralization of the municipalities for their original mandate. As you know, in our region, and especially in some Arab countries region, the people or the citizens are not satisfied about the services delivered by the municipality. This is due to a lot of resources limitation, institutional capacities, and the legal framework. So, but we tried through this initiative to increase the authority ability to deliver service locally and increase accountability to the public and improved coordination rules between the municipality itself and all NGOs, all cooperative CBOs within the municipality boundaries, and how to make the responsibility to have better management for their budget and resources. So Minaret also help the municipalities to expand their role and to be more accountable about the services that they are delivered to the citizens. Next, please. The project timeline, actually, as I said, the project was launched in 2017. At the beginning, we started with all baseline studies and the situation analysis. We did the baseline study for water, energy baseline studies, and food baseline studies, stakeholder mappings, and capacity building need assessment. All these studies we did in 2017. After that, we communicate with the 3 municipalities, with all relevant stakeholders, and consult with them about the current situation that they are living with regarding the three sectors and the current situation for the management style in the 3 countries, and also to enhance the communication between the 3 municipalities. We developed the Minaret website and a platform, and we did a lot of exchange visits between the municipalities to share with them the technology that can be used to enhance the current situation in terms of managing the natural resources. In 2019, we started, based on the baseline studies, we started implementing the project, the pilot, several pilot projects. We implement 2 projects in El Karak municipalities. The first project is creating a plant nursery. This plant nursery
Ali, if you don't mind, we are already way past time. Would you mind giving us some the further details and the most interesting slide of why Minaret is a game changer during the discussion?
Okay. Just I will be more fast. Sorry for that. In the brief, we have two main pilot projects in the Karak municipalities for water harvesting and for establishing plant nursery using wastewater treatment plants surrounding the area, and the same in Lebanon, and we have a water harvesting program in Tunisia as well. Next, please. So, why is the project a game changer? Actually, Minaret is the expert in using Nexus and the climate integrated to move municipality out of the debt.
Sorry, Ali. I think this is a very interesting, and this will be my first question to you, why Minaret is a game changer. I know it's a very interesting project, and indeed a game changer. So this will be my question that you can contribute during the discussion. I have to say goodbye for now, just for a few minutes, and welcome our next speaker and panelist, Dr. Amgad Elmadi. He's the director of MENA region at IMI in Cairo. Dr. Elmadi, welcome and thank you for being with us. We're a bit late, so I would like to ask you to be right on time if possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Constantina. And good afternoon, everyone in the audience and also my fellow on the panels. What today I would like to share with you is really to take you through our agenda at EMI on Nexus, and also talk to you quickly at the Regional Innovation Hub for MENA, for water, energy, for food that will be launched next month. So next, please. So EMI just released the new strategy late 2019 that take us to 2023, and we really focus on three programs. One, water and food, where we're looking at how we can improve food security and also ecosystem. Second program, really looking at water and climate, where we really looking at climate change impact prediction and forecasting. But also talk about resilience and mitigations. The third program, it's really about water and growth, where we're really looking at circular economy and how we can really look at the gender aspect and empowering women also in water management. Next, please. So early this year, we really did that analysis that really looking at the key challenge, which it's already been mentioned by my colleagues on the panel. But very briefly, it's really the food security or the food system vulnerability, also the climate change, of course, the energy price volatility, and also the land management and erosion. Plus, of course, population growth. The arc that you see, it's actually representing also how each country went into the integrated water management, which it's again considering all other sector, including water, food, and energy. Next, please. So taking that understanding of the situation in the MENA region, we currently have a number of projects that really working on the Nexus. And without going into any much detail, but it's really focused on how you can really improve water productivity by different mechanisms on the field, or even using technology like ICT, how you can look at water profitability assessment and climate resilience, the wastewater reuse in for agriculture as direct or indirect, and I will focus on that later, how you can bring in irrigation technology to really save water and save energy and produce more food, plus, of course, improving return and livelihood. Also, how to look at drought management in the MENA and really define what is the next hotspot where really an actions need to be taken to build resilience within the community in the MENA region. Next, please. So some example of the tools or the projects that we did. So we have developed that solar suitability mapping tool, and we did that in a number of countries. And what you see here on the screen, it's like in Ethiopia, where we really developed different scenarios that looking at the land type, the access to different water source like groundwater, surface water, or a combined, the water level, the type of cropping system, the community exists. And what we can actually get out of that, it's actually the suitability to be applying solar power for irrigation. And that actually show us in that analysis, it's actually about 9.6 million hectare in Ethiopia can actually be adapted that technology and be really a good profit for the community and also for food and energy. Next, please. The other thing that we currently do also in Jordan, it's a really groundwater pumping sensor and also big data, where actually when the farmer buy a solar power groundwater pump, and that linking with some sensor to really monitor the water level and water use, and bring that with the big data analysis, where it can actually give us a better understanding of the situation of the system and also the level of production. Next, please. Also using the ICT technology. So these two phone apps that have been developed, one in Egypt and one in Lebanon, that really help farmers to understand their water requirements, but also how their crop really evolve during the season, and also how that save on the energy use based on the type of pump or the type of irrigation system they use. We currently also started that in Jordan, and will be available in next 6 months time. Next, please. So this mapping actually, as we are an international institute, it shows actually where we did really work on resource and reuse and recovery, and some of the implementation projects with many partners as well, like local and international partners. Next. I would try to bring those solutions actually to the MENA region. One of the first we did, it's really the global assessment and feasibility, where we really capture most of resource and recovery and reuse cases that have been done, around 180 cases, plus 60 cases really as a multidisciplinary analysis in more depth. But also what is good, it's about actually defining the business models that actually can be applied. With many models was actually for like fecal sludge management and also other application in cities and town and rural areas. And I will show you some of those example of business model. Next. That actually also is published in Resource Recovery and from Waste book that also available online for free. You can download it by chapter, or you can download the whole book through our website, and it's for free. Next. So this is a type of like a business model for like a fecal sludge based fertilizer for revenue generation in a small community, where it's actually show the operational cost break even actually between 3 to 5 years, but also it's generating employment as well for like urban poor areas. And some of those business models also have an initial investment figure that actually need to be put at the beginning to make that happen. Next. Other business model as well, it's like the inter-sector water trade. How actually we work with farmers to trade water, like their fresh water for treated wastewater. So in that example was literally 21 million cubic meter per year from their fresh water. They traded to 25 million cubic meter of treated wastewater. And that actually make better for like achieving the demand or meeting the demand for urban area, plus also provide more water for rural area. So it was actually a win-win, and that was run by the water utility in a business model. Next. The other thing also, when we talk about solar irrigation, so we know like solar irrigations, you have two type of business. You can be connected to the grid or non-grid, but how you can turn that into cash crops. And cash crop, it's like a solar cash crops, where when you don't have a crop, your solar system actually bring in more income and generate more profit for local farmers. Next. Also, we work on policy and regulations where we actually turn those turning waste to like fertilizer, and that become in many countries like in Ghana, West Africa, be listed actually for the subsidy as a fertilizers, also in Sri Lanka and a number of other countries as well. Next. We also work as an advisory service for a number of international and national agencies as well, and donors, of course, including like EU, SDGs, EDB, GIZ, and also national in many countries like India and Sri Lanka. Next. We also do capacity development for Nexus approach and Nexus project, as we are research for development mission or organization. What we do, we really define the problem, co-design the solution, pilot that solution, and then transfer that solution through a capacity development with our local partner. And that actually our exit strategy. So we ensure the sustainability of that. Next slide, please. And also with the circular water economy, we work on like 3 aspects here. The water loop, where we look at the reuse of wastewater of different quality, and also the material loop, which is the resource efficiency and sludge management, and then the energy loop, where we're looking at how we reduce emissions and biogas to energy. And we put the system or the design of the system that actually can make that happen. Next. And under the water loop here, so we have this project that actually in the second year, it's a 4 years project funded by CEDA, where we're really looking at promoting more and safe water reuse for agriculture, as direct when the discharge go direct into agriculture, or indirect when discharge get mixed with water course before it reach agriculture. But also try to address that challenge that actually limit the use of the treated wastewater. We know in the MENA region, we still have around 82% of the collected or untreated wastewater that really give a great potential to actually close the gap between supply and demand. This project we run now in 3 countries, Egypt, Lebanon, and Jordan, with a number of partners. Also, one of the key outputs of that is actually lifting the national work to the regional level with our partners at FAO and League of Arab States, and to take that to come with a regional strategy for MENA region, or sorry, for the Arab countries, to using treated wastewater for agriculture. Next. Also with the working with FAO, we tried also to be proactive and putting like a new strategy or a new policy, where we did that work with FAO, and that was submitted to the first Ministerial Council for Water and Agriculture at League of Arab States. And one of that new strategy was actually, or new investment, is really to bring on their agenda the Nexus approach. And that was coming very clear in Cairo declaration last year. And there will be like a follow-up actions on that. Next. Also working on reducing water and energy by using groundwater, how you can move from one system to another. And this work, or this result, we did it in Asia, but we also did it in Jordan. My next slide is the last one.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. And sorry, the following one. Next. Yes, and this that I would like to conclude with that and share that with you. So we are going to launch next month this MENA Regional Innovation Hub, funded by USAID and CEDA and Netherlands and GIZ. And in that hub, we're really looking to work with SMEs and really support them on water energy for food, and bring their solutions or their prototype into the market. And also, if there is already a market, how we can actually scale up that. Next. And part of that, it's really we aiming to reach 750,000 farmers around the region, but also how we can support them in the enabling environment, how we can make the environment actually support that to happen at the national level and also at the regional level. And this going for 4 years from August 2020. Next. Thank you for your listening, and happy to take any further question. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. El-Mahdi. It's been a very rich presentation, also bringing the experience not only from our region, but also beyond the region. And this is the beauty of cooperation, and also being able, through this digital environment, beyond the challenges, to bring together people and experience from the region and beyond. Let me just call all partners on stage, on this digital stage. I think we're missing Dr. Ali, Mr. Ali. Yes, thank you so much. Well, I understand we are running out of time, but if you don't mind, I know Dr. Liponen has to join another meeting, so I will start very briefly with a question to Anuka first, and then we can continue our discussion. If you don't mind staying for another 5 minutes or more, we have some questions from the audience. But before that, Anuka, let me just ask you, I know you have to go, you have to be in another meeting in a few minutes, so let me just ask with a very important question. Would you please name the key factors, enabling factors? What is the enabling environment in order to, you started with the methodology, but what does it take to eventually use a Nexus approach and mainstream a Nexus approach?
Well, less than about the methodology, I would maybe look a bit further, like looking into the solutions that are identified with the methodology jointly among different countries and different, like sharing the same resource and with like different sectors participation. Well, one major thing is governance and the instruments that are being used. So the regulatory and legal basis, organizational mandates, policies also that would provide for taking into account these different trade-offs and synergies. Availability of information across sectors and across borders is also an important factor. And often actually for achieving this kind of broader benefits from cross-sector action, actually cooperation and trade would be a better way to achieve them than just by national action alone. So also it then boils down to political will and willingness to cooperate. But often what I feel is lacking is that there's no framework, there's no place, or there's no process where the different sectoral actors could come together for this kind of integrated or joint planning or taking action forward for that to happen. So that's what we would need: mechanisms, procedures.
Well, I do agree with you, but I would really like to hear from Omar. What is your viewpoint, Omar, reflecting the EU delegation?
Well, hopefully my sound is loud and heard. I would complement what Dr. Anuka started with. It's more about complementarities. And this is quite important in the Nexus approach. And this is not stopping at a technical level, but in fact, even political, more policy dialogue, thinking outside the box. We find many sectors trying to overcome their current challenges. In Jordan, we see the water sector really being challenged, but heavily also with the electricity burden. Contrary, the electricity sector with energy, we have more or less more capacity for extra production at the moment in Jordan due to the quick development in green energy, but this should be complemented with the water sector, with other sectors, as I mentioned, in the opportunities on green growth. So I would say, again, complementarities, thinking outside the box, having longer planning processes, not only short term, and trying to reflect challenges into opportunities. If we have extra electricity from solar energy, we can integrate it into water, for example, in storage, in water desalination, rather than moving into conventional water desalination, in looking into brackish water desalination by solar energy, as well as others. There are many nice examples that have been presented today, and I believe we should build upon them. But again, as I mentioned twice, I repeat it one more time, complementarities among the sectors and between policymakers and further development for the sectors. Thank you.
Thank you, Omar. I think it was a great addition to what Anuka has already mentioned. Dr. Enmaldi, how do you feel about it? What is it that you would add in this mix that Anuka started, Omar complemented? You're bringing all this experience from Nexus, not only in the region, but also beyond. Would you add anything to this mix? I think we will end up with a long list on how to take Nexus further.
Yes, it's thanks for Dr. Anouk and Omar. I think you highlighted the key points, but also one thing, it's really with the enabling environment, how you really make everyone really understand if we're really aiming, because each country now, they have to do SDGs 2030, and they have to report on that, and we have only 10 years to harvest that. So how we can make like they see water as a connector, and they see it as an sector. It's not a single sector they need to manage. So what I want to say, it's really how we can bring the integrated aspect with the complementary aspect and other aspects, to make that happen.
Thank you, Amgad. Ali, you have a very practical experience from pilot projects that are actually implemented at local level. What would you add from your experience working with the municipalities and working at local level? I think you're muted.
Do you hear me, please? Do you hear me? Yeah. Actually, as I just mentioned in my presentation, that based on our experience, it really was very unique to apply and adopt the Nexus approach at municipality levels. As the municipality level is the municipals in our region is the engine for the sustainable development. There is a lack of the enabling environment in the 3 countries we targeted, but there is a big potential to improve, big potential to invest and to support the municipalities to get rid from the debt that they have from the financial resource, the shortage in financial resources, by adapting Nexus approach projects, and how to enhance their capacity, institutional capacity, to improve the whole local community within their boundary, to achieve the livelihood goals, and to achieve the sustainable goals in general.
Mm-hmm. I will continue with one more question coming from our audience. How do you see this, the Nexus approach vis-a-vis the decentralized approach for municipalities? This is among the questions that we had from the audience.
If you could repeat it again, please.
The question was about comparing a decentralized approach to services compared to a Nexus approach, to an integrated, to a Nexus approach, actually. Out of your experience working with the municipalities, do you feel that this is... Yes, please.
Sorry?
No, it was the question, decentralized approach to a Nexus approach. How do they compare at the municipality level?
If I understood you well, that the decentralized approach, it's much applicable and much applicable, and it can be adopted easily within the municipality level. Okay, now we are talking, but again, without mainstreaming the Nexus approach within the national policies, mainstreaming with the national policies, it's really hard to decentralize this approach or to apply it with the municipalities, because as I mentioned before, in most of the Arab countries or in MENA region, the 3 resources, even food, energy, and water, it's governed and controlled and managed by the government. So the centralization is really one of the good tools that can help to adapt the Nexus approach at municipality level.
Thank you, Ali. A question from the audience for you, Omar. It was in your first slides, it was renewable energy and energy efficiency. They said, we see the renewable energy, but where's the energy efficiency? How much is done on efficiency?
Energy efficiency, actually, we believe that it comes first. So although Jordan has really moved quite progressively over the past 6 to 7 years in green energy as renewables, but energy efficiency is on top of the national agenda. There's a National Energy Efficiency Action Plan, which we as EU participated to and helped develop further. And it has different partners. So the Nexus approach is already integrated in the Energy Efficiency Action Plan. And one of the examples I presented, which was more about the solar water pumps for farmers, actually did not only focus on replacing the source of electricity for pumping water, but in fact, also we managed to assess the efficiency of each pump for farmers. And accordingly, some were actually replaced or upgraded to become more efficient. So it's always a combination of energy efficiency together with renewable energy. And even other examples, solar water heaters, small scale solar energy applications, it's all about energy efficiency. So no doubt energy efficiency is there. And for the future, for the EU Green Deal, it's all about energy efficiency in mobility, in transport, in water pumping, equally important in industries, as well as also in other line sectors. So it's always there, including building sector and others.
Well, we've had this webinar on technical solutions, and we barely spoke about technical solutions beyond our presentations and what we brought in the discussion. I understand it's mainly an issue of, as you said, this long list of what is needed, the governance, the enabling environment. We have not touched upon financing and funding opportunities. So do we all agree that technical solutions can be available or are already available? So the question now is how to catalyze this cross-sectorial collaboration among these 4 sectors in order to provide solutions. Anuka?
Technology is definitely there, a lot of opportunities, but then it's a question of creating, I guess, also the, let's say, incentives and well, it's not so simple. A broad assessment of effects is needed. Like in principle, like efficiency, water efficiency has benefits in terms of energy efficiency, but then it's not always the best formula.
Indeed.
Because you need to take into account with what cost that efficiency comes also.
Omar, this is our last round of questions.
Thank you, Constantina. I believe this is quite important. Over the past few years, actually, and equally important with a link to Ali and Minaret, we actually have been working very close to municipalities. And we see that technically it is feasible, where you enter from sustainable energy and climate action plans, and such municipalities are basically converted from regular service provision into more development approaches. And not any development, but in fact more sustainable development. With that said, we can build on that approach from the municipal level, but equally important at national level. And technical solutions, I totally agree with you, Constantina, are available. When it comes to finance, we started really entering into new opportunities of finance, not only regular grants, which we, for example, are providing, but equally important, blending with financing institutions for bigger scale projects. And that is available. And to conclude, as EU, to show our commitment and to reflect the needs for sustainable development goals, as mentioned by Dr. Amgad, we are devoting now more than 25% of our annual support to our partners into climate action. And when we say climate action, it doesn't stop simply on climate action. It's about the complementarities I referred to earlier, as well as green growth and green economy, where we believe this is the way forward. So I believe the outcome of what you are presenting today, what we are all trying to reflect as partners to the region, is quite important really to lead a proper, sustainable, green economic development process. So yes, technical solutions are there and finance is available, and hopefully we use this opportunity and build on it.
Thank you, Mar. Ali, also through Minaret project, you are providing, you're showcasing technical solutions. So do you also agree that technical solutions can be available, but we need to work around everything else?
Yeah, I totally agree that the technical solution is exist and available, but we have to work more in the legal frameworks, in the political will, how to advocate, how to push that at national level, at policy level, to adapt and mainstream the Nexus approach within our own national policy. Let me just give you an example about that. We have the technical solutions, but sometimes there is another obstacles hinder you to use it. One of the initiative in Minaret project that, as you know, in Tunisia till now they didn't use the full electrical cars. So one of the initiative of Minaret that to do it as a model, we bought a car for Minister municipality in Tunisia to be as a model, and we support it with a PV system to charge it. Unfortunately, and due to the legal issues, till now, the municipality couldn't receive the car, still in the port, because they are not allowed. They are not allowed to receive or to have such electrical cars. And now we are pushing and working with the parliament and with the relevant ministries to get the permission to send to release the car from the port to the municipality. Thank you.
It was a really nice example of what practical issues and challenges can be like when we're implementing solutions. Dr. El-Mahdi, a last word from your end?
Yes, yeah, I totally agree with everyone's observations in terms of technical solution. Yes, they are there. And like the stock take we did that was actually 3 years ago, it's proved that as well. I think the key point on top of what has been said is really how you can transfer that solutions from one country to another or from one region to another, taking in consideration how it can be re-customized to meet the local conditions. And I think we need really to work on that. We need to really look at also the gender aspect as well for bring into a new solution or decentralized technology solutions on top of what has been said. So it's really how we can re-customize it, considering gender aspect, culture, and also sometimes religion as well. Because sometimes religion prohibit people, like, for example, what we have faced with wastewater reuse for agriculture. In Jordan was the case, and also in some places in Egypt, religion actually prohibit people from using treated wastewater for agriculture because they feel it's not pure water. So again, how you can bring that or consider that when you work on a solution and work with the community. Also, one thing, it's not just the access to finance, but it's also end user finance as well, because we have seen number of solutions being innovated, being developed, prototype, available in the market, but it's the rate of the uptake, it's really less. And that part of the incentive and end user finance. So how we can work with the banking system to make that end user finance also available. And that really improve the uptake. And this is one of the really key activity we are going to consider in our regional innovation hub to really work on that end user finance as well.
Well, thank you for bringing this also up in the discussion. We're really looking forward to it. And let me just add another aspect, which I'm pretty sure that is also connected with the Regional Innovation Hub, opportunities for youth, because among other things, our region also has the highest unemployment rate, especially among youth. So another aspect that we should be looking into, and this is another nexus that we have been working on within GWP-Med, water employment migration, how opportunities and solutions in the water sector can eventually be opportunities for income generation and employability, both for migrants but also for country population. I cannot thank you enough for these rich contributions, both your presentations and the discussions. We are already 20 minutes late. And I would like to thank also our audience for staying with us for almost 2 hours. Our next steps would be to disseminate this. This webinar is being recorded, so it will feature on demand. So whoever has been registered, but they can also ask for the recording, so it can be accessible to all registered participants. Thank you very much. It was a real pleasure to meet you. And now I think I would really like to meet you in the field, even if it is a digital field for now, to take Nexus into a practical and more tangible application. Thank you very much. Have a good day.